with the Bum Fan.
This is a Huddle Sports Network broadcast. You can find us on Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, Facebook, and of course YouTube. Get all your NFL news here first.
He has time. He's got him. Side touch is there. Leaping grab. Touchdown. Touchdown.
Only a few, you too can support a podcaster with their morning coffee. Yes, without it, they will die and shrivel away. Okay, I'm sorry. I had to do that. Good morning, everyone, as I drink some coffee.
My dog wants to come on screen.
Who wants to come on screen?
My dog.
Oh, there you go.
She's like sitting right in front of my phone, staring at the screen like, what about me?
She might have a better take on golf than Motown Mitch. So, hey, Joe, good morning. While you're having your next drive, I don't want to cause a car accident, but guess who's coming to Vegas today?
Who's that?
Jeanty.
Jeanty.
Yeah, doesn't move the needle.
Don't worry, Joe. Jeanty has the best chance to land with the Bears according to DraftKings. You're safe.
So you guys gotta understand this. Every day, Sarah inboxes me at least one more reason why Jeanty's gonna be a Bear. She's trying to will it into existence.
You know, I'm with Sarah on this one.
She is inspired with about a quarter to a half of Bears Twitter on this one. Like, I think one was, we're moving up to number 4. Every day she finds another mock draft or something and inboxes. Hey, look, Jeanty's going to Chicago. I'm just like, no. I mean,
I'm trying to will it into existence, Ken.
See, but here's the thing.
I don't hate Jeanty. I mean, he's a good player. I just don't think it's the best use of the number 6 overall pick.
Yeah, it's the same for me for number 10. Like, I'm not. You know what, Joe? Here's the irony, right? Because we're both like, and Broski, when he gets on, is like the same way. Like, yeah, no, not at 6, not at 10. Please, Bears don't take him. And now watch the Bears take him, and he becomes the best running back in the last 20 years ever drafted, and some stuff like that. And here we are going, we didn't want the guy. I mean, that would be typical Bears fan, happening. But I don't know. I'm not sold on the kid. Good morning, Brent.
Oh, he could always turn out like the Bears AP for you.
Oh, and then there's Dorn.
Maybe you guys are trading up to 4 to take Shador, and we just don't know.
No, thank you. That's one position I think the Bears will not be even thinking about drafting for the next couple of years. But Love might need to get replayed. Maybe they might move up to take Shador, get out from that bad contract in Green Bay. I don't know. Jesus, Mitch is showing the love today. First, he said that Love's not a top 20 quarterback. Now he's saying by the end of the season, Love won't be a top 2 quarterback in the NFC North.
I mean, I don't really care about his rankings. We'll see where he ranks Goff.
I think people get too caught up in like the rankings of individual players.
Exactly.
The only time that matters, honestly, to me is, okay, what I'm going to give you a contract, right? So you're up for extension. Where do you grade out? Where do you rank out? That's the only time that matters. All these other, my quarterback is the number 1 quarterback in the division. Yeah, okay. Well, we are so awesome. I mean, look, man, we're the kings of the North. Mm-hmm. We won 15 games. Great. And we went to the playoff with the number 1 seed. Really? Yeah, we're going to the Super Bowl.
No, you're not. Yeah, no, you're not. No, you're not. Stop.
Mm-hmm. You're learning so many important things, and I'm so proud of you.
Because it's the same story every year. Choke! Sorry. I hope you like that little production I put on.
Did you like that production? She said no.
No doggy treats for her.
No, to me, that sounds like she gets extra doggy treats now.
I mean, it's just like, the individual rankings don't matter if you don't do anything. Caleb Williams had a pretty good rookie year. It doesn't matter why. We won 5 games. I mean, there are other factors, right? Because you can have players and you can have crappy coaches who find new and interesting ways to make your team lose every week by doing stupid, boneheaded things and calling stupid plays that the players, unfortunately, have to follow for the most part. Especially if you have a rookie quarterback, they really don't change the play. Even though I'll give Caleb some credit. In Flus's last game, he got to the line and said, what the hell is he doing? I'm just going to do what I want. It didn't work, of course, but at least he took the risk. Right? I mean, maybe that was a good part of his learning curve to learn like, dude, I can't trust my coaches for shit. I'm just going to do what I want. I don't know. But, I mean, great. Goff has great gaudy numbers. Outstanding. I guess you get to put another banner up at Ford Field for another division championship. You're the only one in the division that does that. So,
hey, Ken, do you think the Bears allowed Eberflus to take those timeouts that he had in his pocket to the Cowboys?
Maybe, because he's not going to use them. I mean.
Well, Poles wanted to do right by Eberflus, and he let him keep the timeout. It was like how he traded Justin Fields for a cupcake.
I mean, the thing is like, look, how good.
What kind of cupcake?
Plain. There wasn't even any frosting on it.
Oh.
Gotta watch the sugar, man. I mean, look, I don't care how good of a coach you have; they're going to make mistakes, right? They're human. That's fine, but the level of ineptitude last year by Bears coaching staff was just, I thought, like, wow, like, yeah, just ridiculous, especially with the talent level you got on that team. But Jeanty to Chicago, I mean, no, he's going to Vegas today, going to do his workout. Vegas is, look at their GM, his son already said, Dad, if you don't draft Jeanty, I disown you. You're no longer my father. I mean, that's it. He's going to Vegas. End of story. He'll probably be really good in Vegas, and Broski and I will go, we probably should have drafted him. But, that's for another day.
Well, with that intro, good morning, everybody.
I actually think Motown Mitch raised an interesting point. He made an interesting prediction. He said that by the end of the season, Jordan Love won't be even a top 2 quarterback in the NFC North.
Wait,
I don't see
won't
that.
Be or will be?
Won't be.
Oh, damn.
I as much as we give Motown Mitch crap about the Jared Goff placement, I don't think that prediction is 100% out of the realm of possibility. Like, if Jordan Love has another season like he had last year, instead of taking that step forward that everyone is hoping that he takes, like, and let's say J.J. McCarthy plays really, really well, like, all of a sudden, or Caleb Williams plays really, really well, like, think about that, because Goff, I mean, after last year, Goff kind of has to be considered, I guess, number one in the division, right?
We don't have a problem with that. We all agree.
You mean J.J. McCarthy, the human handoff machine?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
but you can say the same
He
thing.
looked pretty good in that preseason game.
You can say that pretty much the same thing that Herbert is a handoff merchant now, because that's just how Harbaugh plays.
Yeah.
But let's say Caleb takes a huge step forward, and Jordan Love doesn't. He has another season like this last one. Like, is he still top 2 in the?
I'm sorry,
North?
Joe. Look at Mitch's comment. I mean, it just gets more and more comical every time he opens his mouth.
Yeah, I just want to clarify something really, really fast. My stance on Mr. Ashton Jeanty. He's not on my draft board. I'm not convinced he's even an NFL running back. I don't want to draft him anywhere in the draft, honestly. There's plenty of other running backs I'd rather draft over him. And I have a list of 11 players officially that I wouldn't mind the Bears drafting at number 10, and Omari and Hampton is one of them.
Yeah.
What about Mason Graham?
What if
Mason Graham is also on my list. So is Kenneth Grant, and so is Walter Nolan.
Whoa! Keep your paws off Kenneth Grant.
And before Joe's last take, I was kind of starting to like the Raiders' chances a little bit, but now I hope they trade up to number 3 and take Jeanty.
But what if the
Why?
Packers do need to draft a quarterback in 2026?
Why? Because I spoke like I said something is possible. Like,
Yes, absolutely.
Well, I want to go back to our wonderful friend here, Mo Pitch. So he's got JJ at number 2 in the division with Love third. I mean, I'm not saying Williams isn't going to have a sophomore slump, but then Williams being dead last in the division.
Ken, I get it. You like Jordan Love, right? Like, I get it, but like, let's be honest here, and I'm asking you to like really be honest here. Like, if Jordan Love has another year like he had last year, are you not going to look at that contract and be like, maybe we overpaid here?
Oh, if he plays like he did last year, I'd say we overpaid by $10 million a year.
You know what?
Yeah,
I would agree with that.
And at that point, will you let go of the? And I'm not saying this like, oh, you need to let go of this because like we don't know yet. But I'm saying at that point, do you feel like you'll know whether or not he's your next Aaron Rodgers or Brett Favre?
Yeah, I got an idea that he already is, but if that does happen, that he sucks to where keeps that inconsistency, that's going to drop my opinion of him and drop the hope. I will still hold out hope that maybe this guy's a slow learner and it'll take an extra year, but that hope's going to massively drop down.
Hey, Mitch, we read by end of the year, JJ's not number 2 in the division.
I was going to say that's kind of like what my train of thought was with Goff the other week. There's so many good young quarterbacks that came into the league just last draft, and then there's other guys on the rise as well. Like, Goff's not going to be moving up the list; he's only going to be moving down the list.
So look at my. Okay, we're not even talking about Geno Smith yet, but I guess we can talk about him in a second. Here's my thing on Love. I've said this a couple times. This is that make or break year, right? He's either going to take a step forward because he had the sophomore slump, which is normal. He's finding the normal NFL quarterback trajectory right now, right? Had a good first season, a little bit of a slump in the second, not a massive slump, a little one. This is the year that's going to be one of 3 things. Big leap forward and he's a superstar. He keeps regressing, or he like kind of maintains where he was last year, maybe a little bit of improvement, not massive, but maybe a little, or maintains. And then to answer Joe's question, the only way I think they look at that contract as being overpaid, considering the quarterback market for a starting long-term quarterback in the league, I think they're fine. Either, if he doesn't take the massive step with that quarterback, because that's kind of the going rate right now.
Yeah,
By the time they would get to that point where they're saying, oh, it's not worth it, well, guess what? That's what the going rate is. So you could say, yeah, they overpaid in the initial, but now they're like at market value.
Yeah, I see what you're saying there, Ken, but part of why he got that contract was the prediction of future success.
Yeah.
And if even if he's just treading water and staying the same, I would be a little disappointed in the contract numbers.
Well, I would too. I agree with you there. Like, I would be disappointed in, like, okay, we overpaid this guy for what we got, but now, for what he is, he's at market value. Like, the market caught up to him, right? But that's where it's going to be with him. I don't know if he's a quarterback, the top quarterback in the division at the end of the season. I mean, look, I think you've got three guys who legitimately have a shot to be there. Good morning, JB. You have one guy, who's basically legit a rookie, right? No NFL starts that we'll have to find out. We'll have to see what these other three guys do, because they've all shown flashes, capability, or that they can do it. All of them have shown something where you could make an argument for them, to say, hey, look, this is why they're going to be the top guy in the division.
I think that's why the Vikings did not want to sit McCarthy for like 2-3 years and then have him play a year and then have to decide whether or not he gets extended. They wanted to, take advantage of that rookie quarterback fully. And so that's why they let Sam go. They let Daniel Jones go so that we can see if he's got it or not. If he doesn't, well, you draft another quarterback in the next coming couple seasons.
Right. Yeah, I mean, Sarah's right. You don't want to get Jordan Love. I mean, that's a good way to put it. Like, this is year 2, right? So you got to maybe if you get him to start this year or next year, you got 2 years now of tape, right? Year 2 and 3 tape. As you come into year 4, that's usually they'll get the extension, right, before the 5th year option. So they're going to have good 2 seasons on them at least before they have to make a choice. Unlike the Packers, who had literally 1 season of Love being a starter before they had to make a choice. And A-Dub's right. It's like, look, that's why I said what I said, A-Dub. You've made the playoffs with him. So, I mean, will he be worth all the money you gave him if he stays where he's at? No, you probably overpaid on the hopium piece of it. But for what you'll still be paying him, he'll be worth the money because that's what the going rate is.
Well, so look at it like this. So Geno Smith, for the last 3 years, has been statistically like a top 10, like number 10, let's say, right? 10 to 12 guy. And he's making $33 million a year.
Right.
Look at the top 5 paid quarterbacks in the league and their annual salary. Can you pull that up real quick, Ken? Let's just look at it. Because what did Jordan Love get? $53 million a year? 55. So let's just look it up. What do the top 5 quarterbacks make annually?
That he's bringing that up. I remember Geno's contract was what, 2 years ago though?
No, he just got a new contract now, and he's making $33 million a year guaranteed.
I mean, at some point too, the market's going to have to correct a little bit. Same with the wide receivers.
Well, it did kind of correct this season though, because Sam got about 33. Geno got about 33.
Right.
Justin got 20. So it kind of corrected itself where these quarterbacks aren't like premier, but they're not like bums, and so they're getting like that middle of the pack money.
I was going to say, I think Pretty T, Trevor Lawrence, is probably in the top 5 highest paid.
Yeah, Trevor Lawrence I don't think he's worth.
Is Dak Prescott at 1, Joe Burrow, Jordan Love, Trevor Lawrence, and then Tua down at 53.1.
That's right.
And none of those. Only Burrow is considered. Only Burrow out of those 5 is an actual top 5 quarterback.
Yeah.
So like Love is getting paid, like he's getting paid in the top 5, but his performance is not in the top 5. That's why I'm saying like if he has another season like last season, I would definitely feel like, man, we overpaid, like
Yeah,
big
I
time.
mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, I think they'll overpaid, but by the time it comes time for another deal, the market will call it. But the problem you remember with Love was this, and this is what Sarah was alluding to for JJ with what they're doing there. They had 1 year of field play to base this off of, right? And that was my argument last year, and I was told, "Oh my God, you're delusional, you're stupid, you're a moron, you don't know what you're talking about." But yet here we are, a year later, and look what you just said, Joe. Right? I mean, but they had 1 year of tape to make a judgment on how to sign this guy. And look, at Goody kind of had no choice. I'll give Goody doesn't necessarily deserve all the blame here. He had no choice. He was like, either sign the guy to the contract he wants or don't have a quarterback.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I'm not saying it like Goody should be blamed or anything. I'm just kind of pointing it out, like, and I didn't even say that I expect it to happen. I just said, like, what if this happens? Like, because they haven't addressed wide receiver, and that was their problem last year. Is like, you don't have that guy that's gonna help Jordan Love. Like where they're gonna help each other. Like, you have a committee, but there's nobody that's really a star on that wide receiver core, and you haven't addressed that yet. So to go into this season having like much higher expectations, I think is unrealistic unless you address that position.
And I was going to say, now you see why I'm pounding the table for a number one receiver.
Yeah, no, I totally get it.
Always pounded the table for number one receiver, and they never seem to draft it or get it, right? But then,
like, I feel like you guys really wasted Love's rookie contract.
In Green Bay, every so often they'll get a manifestation of a number one receiver, but they don't get time to pay them. They walk. But once again, the problem with Green Bay with this, and look, Goody's plan was right? They drafted Love at the right time. Their problem was the final execution. They did the right thing. Almost everything they did was right until they got to that position where they weren't able to get at least 2 years of game tape on Love as a starter before making the decision.
They just kept Rodgers a year too long.
Because Rodgers got mad and went on an MVP tearing spree.
There
so then you can't get rid of him either.
And what did that get?
He threw the monkey wrench in the plan, because what Goody wanted to do was keep Rodgers for 1 more year and then jettison him off. Rodgers says, there ain't no way in hell I'm letting the kid take my job yet, and threw out those MVP years.
And here's the thing, honestly, I know Packer fans, this is going to be a hard pill to swallow, but what did that get you? What did Lane Rodgers stick around for an MVP year? Granted, he was MVP, great, but what did it get you? The same thing Jared Goff got Lions fans in Detroit last year. Nothing. They should have, honestly, hindsight is always 20/20. Honestly, they should have dumped him a year earlier, whether he wanted to be dumped or not, and stuck to their guns and gone with Jordan Love. And that's a cautionary tale for other GMs, because had they done that, they would have been in a better situation with Jordan Love. And who knows, Jordan Love might be a better quarterback now because of it.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's really hard to move off of future Hall of Fame quarterback. But when he says, you know what, I want to stay and run this back for another year, you're not going to say, you know what, we got this young kid in town. You go on your way, and we're going to let the toddler play.
Ken, you know what that's called, though? Having a set of balls. Big breath.
I was going to say, that's funny to bring up like that, because you guys never had to make that decision.
That's what it would take. Big.
He went there, Ken. He went there, Ken. He said, you guys never had to make that decision. But
I mean, but look, it's a cautionary tale that we've seen time and time again, and there have been GMs in the past who've done it.
Hey, honestly, think about it. Think about what kind of situation the Packers would be in now if they traded him after that MVP season.
Yep.
Like right after the season's over, he just made MVP, and you trade him then, dude.
You would have gotten multiple first-round picks.
You would have got multiple first-round picks. Like, there's your number one receiver and some.
Yep.
Like, again, hindsight's 20/20, right?
I'm so happy he's not Quezzy, because Quezzy would have done it. Quezzy's crazy, man. Quezzy would have traded Aaron Rodgers if he was the GM of the Packers back then. He would have done it. I mean, there are a couple GMs who are crazy enough that would have done it. They have the big enough set that would have done it. Goody I get Goody. I'm not blaming Goody for not doing it either, but that's the one flaw. If you really want to break that down, like, why did Love get the big contract with not having as much look? Because they didn't have the big enough balls to tell Aaron, adios, amigo, we're trading you. Great MVP season that didn't get us anything, but we need to move on with our plan. They let Aaron Rodgers, they let Aaron Rodgers dictate their plan to them with Jordan Love in the franchise. I mean, and look, I get it. I get it. It's Aaron frickin' Rodgers who just won the MVP. It's really hard to do it. But in essence, that's what happened, right? I mean, we look back at it now. That is in essence what happened. So but
see, Ken, there's also you have to look at the other side of the argument. Like, that's a huge risk to take, and the Packers traditionally have always been kind of a risk-averse team. Yes. They always kind of play it safe, and like, think about that. Like, how stupid would they have looked if they trade an MVP quarterback and then Jordan Love comes in and dicks the dog? Like, they would look like the biggest rube.
And it still was the same.
Well, or not even that. You look at the Patriots situation with Tom Brady, where Belichick had more balls than brains and kind of forced him out.
Yeah.
And then he goes and wins the Super Bowl his very first year with the next team.
There you go.
There's one other course of action that Goody could have taken maybe to maybe help himself there. And he didn't, I won't say he half measured it, but he didn't probably do it as long as he should have. So when they signed Love to that bridge contract, that 2-year deal, they should have made that like a 3-year deal. So they could have waited one more year before the big extension. That extension was a year short. And I get, though, from Love's perspective, he's like, I don't want to hang around. But from a team perspective, said, yeah, but it doesn't work for us. Like, we have a plan. Aaron fucked it up. You're going to get fucked over for it, too, just like we are. We're all going to feel the pain. And they still could have given him good money that would have been competitive, probably more competitive pricing, like in that Geno Smith money range, right? That 30 mil range versus 50 mil range. Yeah, he wouldn't have made as much money for that 1 year, but that would have set the Packers up organizationally up to make a better decision to give him an extension right now versus when they did it last year based on what they knew, that little they knew. So, I mean, in the end, the Packers had the right game plan, just they let Aaron Rodgers screw it up. And here Aaron Rodgers is today screwing up another organization's game plan in Pittsburgh.
Not only that, you got to take into account of the first year that Love had, is that's what made it to where the contract that they signed him to, because he still had an extra year after it would have covered his first 2 years as a starter. And he was only making somewhere like 10 mil a year. And he balled out so crazy, there was no way in hell he was paying on 10 years or 20 or 30.
That's the problem, though, Ken, is like the extension was 1 year short, because if you didn't sign him last year, he could have walked this year. Like, he could have said when he came back to the tables, he'd been like, nah, I want to see free agent market. So they had to do it last year. I mean, no one ever played. Look, at the contract year is not the last year of the contract anymore.
The year before.
It's the year before the last year is a contract year now. That last year of a contract is not what guy ever makes it to the last year of the contract before re-signing? They always get signed a year before the contract ends. I mean, it's shifted, right? A 5-year deal? No, it's a 4-year deal. Because if you're not re-signing them after the 4th year, that means you're not keeping them after year 5 and they're walking or they're going elsewhere. That's the new NFL.
Kwesi took a lot of he got kind of into trouble with Vikings fans because he was like, Kirk Cousins is not a Josh Allen or Pat Mahomes. We're not going to spend that kind of money, basically on Kirk Cousins. And he walked, and a lot of Vikings fans who were Kirk stands were upset, but turned out he was right. You don't pay that much money to a quarterback that's not Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes.
It's kind of like in the NBA when you get some of these franchises that are holding on to their superstars, who won a championship, right? And they just hold on to them too long, and now the team sucks for a decade. Hello, Boston. I mean, that's the same thing that kind of happened in Green Bay with Rodgers. And look, situationally, I get it. It would have been tough, but Kwesi was not afraid with I mean, look, there were Packer fans who wanted Rodgers gone before he was gone, just like in Minnesota, there were fans like Sarah who wanted Cousins gone, and they got their wish. But Kwesi learned from history. Some Packer fans and Goody did not. And I just wonder. I mean, it's all hypothetical. Who knows where they would be? But I wonder if Goody would have had the balls after that MVP season say, "Hey, we're trading Rodgers. Who wants him?" And if they would have taken a first-round pick and a fourth or something like that, whatever, and gotten rid of him and inserted Love earlier, and now had more money because they would have been paying, Rodgers, they might have a better receiving core, not have that receiving core issue they have right now. They might not have some of the other minor issues they have right now because they would have the money to deal with it. They would have had a small reprieve as well with the money to do some things and to fix some things. So, and you've had some other draft capital to spend. So, I mean, hindsight's always 20/20, right? We do it every year. Oh, look how great this team could have been if. It's like watching What If on Disney Plus, right? But I mean, honestly, looking back at it, that's probably what should have happened in Green Bay. They should have gotten rid of Rodgers a year earlier, let Love start his starting career a year earlier, had 2 years to make a decision on him, then paid him the worth of those 2 years, which probably would have been around 33 to 40 mil versus 55.
I agree with everything you said, except for that they should have traded him. They would have got a first and a fourth. I think they would have got multiple first-round picks for him, especially coming off an MVP season.
Yeah, Denver was willing to give up 3 first-round picks for him.
Yeah, they would have got a haul for him, dude.
I mean, I know they would have gotten a haul. I don't know if they would have gotten 3 firsts or 2 firsts.
Denver gave Seattle 3 firsts for Russell, didn't they?
That's true. At that time period, you were still getting true. They weren't as jaded yet. That is true. So I mean, they probably would have gotten a haul for him. Who knows? He may have ended up in Denver.
Yeah, because that's where Hackett went.
Yep.
And that was what they were really hoping for, was to get Hackett so that they could get Rodgers. And
you want something else? You want to hear something else interesting? If Denver had made that move, I feel like it would have panned out a whole lot better than Russ. Like with that defense that they had, right? And and then you give Rodgers finally the defense that he's lacked his whole career. Like,
and he had a receiving core there too. And think of it this way, but now we're getting the second, third, fourth orders of effect here. Think of the trickle down of this. If the Packers had done that, Rodgers goes to Denver. Well, Sean Payton's never the head coach there. Bo Nix never gets drafted there.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe, who knows how different the AFC West would look right now, because who knows where Russ may have never left Seattle, which means Geno Smith might not have gotten the contract he got.
Mm-hmm.
But Denver still had Nate Hackett.
Well, we could have been talking about Nathaniel Hackett like he was an actual good head coach because he had Rodgers covering up for him.
Yep, but he had Rodgers covering up for him in New York and still didn't.
He had a hobbled Rodgers in that who didn't even seem like he was bought in at the time.
Yeah, I don't disagree with Sarah's point about Russ being washed 2 years before it, but something I would point out is what Hackett. Let's say he doesn't succeed. I think there's still a chance that you could end up with Sean Payton as Denver's coach, and now he's coaching Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah,
which is even more scary.
Yeah,
Russ, maybe at the time period, the Colts were searching for their quarterback. Russ might have ended up in Indianapolis.
Mm-hmm.
Indy might have made the trade to get Russ. So, I mean, there's so many domino effects.
So what you're saying is it doesn't matter which timeline, Indy still makes a bad decision at quarterback.
Oh, yeah.
What I was going to say is the one constant in the whole thing is Indy still sucks. That's like the one thing we can count on.
Yeah, I hope you're doing it well as well. That sounds right. But that's the orders of effect with these kinds of things, though. Like, so it's interesting as we come now into this draft, and now you got Jeanty, right? Like, and he's the hot potato. Like, everyone wants him, but no one wants him. Right? Everyone wants him. I mean, with the way we're talking about this guy, how we don't want him, but yet all these other people are saying, "Oh, he's so good," and could he be the legit running back? Broski doesn't think he's even an NFL caliber guy, really. I mean, he's got a good argument, but then there's good arguments for Jeanty.
or you end up getting, like I've heard the comparison of, he's Eddie Lacy. 2 years, he's going to be absolutely outstanding. After those first 2 years, he's been dog shit.
Yeah, I mean, he had 750 carries in college. I mean, that's a lot of mileage already. I mean, we've seen that play out with multiple running backs in the NFL where they don't last that long because they were used and abused in college. Granted, he only had weak little Mountain West defenders trying to hit him, so maybe it's not as bad.
Hey, what was his injury history like though?
I don't think he really had any.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. He didn't blow out any ACLs. Like, he's not coming in with any like severe like injuries hampering him. Like,
right, but he's not a really. I mean, he's like stocky, but he's really not like a huge, like a big running back. You know what I mean? So the hits, you could argue they might add up quicker, also, but maybe not. Either way, Joe, I'm not sure if you're aware of this. So, 2012, in the first round of the draft, do you remember who the Bears selected? They selected somebody out of Boise State in the first round. Shea McClellan. Complete bust. And I think if Poles were to actually risk the first round pick on another Boise State product, I don't know if it's worth the risk for him. But again, he doesn't seem to learn from history very well either. So I kind of go back and forth on that one.
I get the argument about the conference, and I don't disagree. Like, he's playing in the Mountain West Conference, but we can't forget that he also played teams like Oregon, and he had a 100-yard game against Oregon. He didn't look as, people look at that as a bad game because he only had 100 yards, but I mean, he still had 100 yards against Oregon. And
yeah, like, and so, I mean, and I'll even argue like Oregon's really not known for their defense, but yeah, I mean, like I said, just based on my experience throughout my life, grading, prospects and seeing what happens, how they translate to the NFL, it's just good to avoid running backs from these little tiny schools. It really, you have better odds of a quarterback from like a lesser conference panning out than you do like a running back.
Let's be fair too, though. When it comes to first round draft picks, it's a 50-50 on all of them. Like, if you look at first round picks throughout the last, you can go back just a decade if you want. Over half of them don't get a 5th-year option or get that extension. Like, the first round pick is a 50-50 proposition. Now, it gets like a quarterback at number 1, the odds are a little bit better overall than making a 5th-year option or extended contract. But then you go from 2 back, and the numbers drop dramatically. And you can say the same thing from the number 2 and 3 pick back compared to number 1. The bust rate is a lot higher. Usually the number 1s do okay, right? But after that, it's like hockey. They need to go play junior hockey somewhere, right? If you look at NFL history, the draft, it's a 50-50 proposition at best, and in some positions worse than others, quarterback being one of them. But
for sure.
How many running backs in the first round have gotten that 5th-year option? How many wide receivers?
Well, I was going to say, I guarantee you that it increases, like the odds of failure increases when you draft from like one of the lesser conferences. Like,
yeah, if you break it down,
to me, I'd rather roll the dice, like like I always say, SEC or Big Ten players, like especially in the trenches. Skilled position wise, you'll find a lot of good ones in the Big 12 because the Big 12's like all offense, no defense, and in the ACC as well. But
you can get a wide receiver from pretty much. We've seen some wide receivers from tiny schools that just do really well because you can't, speed is speed, right? Route running ability is route running ability. It doesn't matter how good the corners are if you blow past everyone, right? I mean, we've seen those kind of guys come out from small schools and do well. But I agree with Broski when it comes to running backs. Like, I'm sorry, I keep seeing the one highlight tape that these guys on Bears Twitter keep showing to Jeanty. Look at how great he is running through the middle. You mean with a defensive line that does not touch him as he runs past them. And then in the secondary where, look at this great tackle he broke. Where the guy leaned in with his shoulder and tried to shove him with the shoulder. That's not breaking a tackle. That's like not tackling him at all.
Yeah, and notice the one thing you'll never see in a Jeanty highlight, which is so strange, and I've watched so much film. Like, he does not cut well. Like, he has no sharp cuts. I've never seen a running back have so many yards without being able to cut. Like, plant your foot and cut. He has good balance and everything, but like, just actually like just one cut and turn it upfield, or he doesn't do that.
Well, the thing that worries me is like these players. It's like, yeah, you're playing like just competitions that, man, so you look good. But when you come into the NFL, if you're a starter, you're playing against starters who are the best of the best, who are much faster, bigger. They will hit your ass. And so it's like, I don't know if he's going to be able to make it because of all that.
Well, think of it this way, though, too, and Sarah brings up a great point. In the NFL, at any given point in time, there's right around 2,000 players under contract. That's your practice squad. That's your active roster. That's everyone. About 2,000 guys. How many guys play college football? How many guys play high school football? Right? I mean, that is like what? Not even 1% of college players make it to the NFL.
It's 1/10 of 1%.
Yeah, 1/10 of 1%. So you're not, 99.9% of the guys you played against in college aren't good enough to make.
Well, here's a question for Packer fan Ken. Bear fan Ken, I mean, I agree with everything you said. I mean, it's such a small percent that even make it to the NFL. I mean, it's a fine line that separates, a pro from even a good Division I player. But Packer fan Ken and Sarah, this question's for you. Let's say Mr. Jeanty slips in the draft and he's there for, the Packers or the Vikings to, do you guys draft him?
No, I don't want to waste a pick on a running back because of how the running back room is in Green Bay, with us just drafting Marshawn Lloyd last year and having Josh Jacobs. I'd rather roll with what we have and spend that high pick elsewhere.
I don't think we take him either because we just extended Aaron Jones. We gave up draft capital for Jordan Mason. And we only have 4 picks, so it's not like I don't think we're going to waste a pick on a running back.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. I wouldn't waste a pick on him either.
I mean, and that's where, like, for the Bears, same argument that Ken made, right? We got Swift. We just gave a contract. We've got Roschon sitting there. And if we want a better third option or better option 2, like Broski has said in the past, we can go get that in the second or third round. We don't have to waste a first-round pick. We could go with a safety because that room is empty at the end of the year. We could go with a tight end that can basically help fill wide receiver 3, goal line running back, and give us 2 tight ends under contract for the next 3 years because you don't have to get rid of Kmet if you draft them. You could go O-line to shore that up, but I don't think – I mean, it'd be hard. I mean, it's the whole Braxton Jones argument. Who would be your left tackle? Would say you drafted one there. But, I mean, you could draft an interior defensive lineman because, that could use some shoring up. You could draft – I don't think there's a linebacker good enough, but the Bears can go in many other directions where they can get an impact starter that I don't think Jeanty necessarily moves the needle for the Bears offense. I
think Jalen Walker is good enough.
What now?
The linebacker from Georgia, Jalen Walker, he's pretty good, man.
Yeah, but I don't know if he's going to be there at 10.
Linebacker
before 10?
I don't think he's picked before 10. I think he'll still be there in the mid-teens, I think.
Yeah, I was going to say
so
linebackers usually don't go super early.
But even at 10, I think he would be a good pick. Like if you were looking for an impact player.
That Jihad Campbell guy out of Alabama, the middle linebacker, would be a bad pick at 10, honestly.
Him too.
I mean, you got your middle linebacker for a decade there if you draft him. But yeah, for the Bears, I think it's like unless they're dead set on Omarion Hampton just being like head and shoulders best running back in the draft, exactly what Ben wants as well, then the Bears will, they'll wait till the second round to draft a running back.
And Jim, I mean, Swift is unreliable. So how was he unreliable in Chicago last year? I mean, you're talking about your time in Detroit when he was injured. Last year in Chicago, he was reliable. Put up over 950 yards with a bad O line. Stayed healthy, and the guy, you have to admit, even being a Lions fan, because you've seen it, has home run hitting ability. So I think that reliability argument is just an old argument because he's shown the last 2 seasons with Philly and Chicago that he is reliable.
I'll tell you what. Speaking of the Lions in the draft, there's one player in this draft I'd really hate the Lions to get with their first round pick. Defensive end out of Ohio State, Jeanty Tumaloa. I think that guy, he's a starter from day one, and he's only like 21 years old, and he's played like 3 years. I just think that guy. I mean, I would love to see the Bears get him in the second round if he lasts that long. But yeah, I just would not like to see the Lions get him.
So where does Jeanty end up?
I think Dallas.
That's what I kind of think too.
Does Dallas trade up to get him, or they get him at 12?
That's hard to say.
I think they're going to stay pat.
I mean, what are the odds Jeanty falls to the second round? I don't know.
I don't think.
I'm kind of hoping the Raiders trade with Dallas.
I don't think he falls to the second round, but I can see him falling out of the top 10.
The second round might be. I mean, this is a guy that everyone's saying he's a top 10 pick. When was the last time you saw a guy like that fall to the second round with the hype train, right? Like
Will Levis.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's not necessarily the GM saying. That's like all the fanboys with their little mock drafts and stuff. Yeah, I mean, hey, like we don't know, but it'll be interesting to see. I think there's a chance he can fall further than people think.
Well, the Bengals.
Well, there's also a chance because I've actually read that the Jaguars might be interested in him because ATN is, he's good, but he hasn't been great lately, and so there's a chance that the Jags could draft him at 5, which would mean that Dallas would have to jump up above the Jaguars in order to get him. So,
hey Jim, hold on real quick, Jim. Please show me quotes that says where Ben Johnson says he does not like him. Once again, that's a Lion fan thing that was great for justification for trading him away after you drafted Gibbs, but no one ever heard that Ben Johnson doesn't like Swift until all of a sudden you guys trade him, and that was, by the way, after like 3/4 of the fan base was like, "Why the hell did you draft this guy? We've got Swift." Right, so you guys weren't even on board with the draft. Now you are, of course. Oh, it was genius at the time. Almost every Lion fan I know, with a few exceptions, was pissed off about it because Swift is a great running back. Now all of a sudden, Ben Johnson hated him. He's unreliable. He's terrible. Really, dudes? Come on, Lions fan, get smarter.
I think Denver needs a running back too, so I wouldn't be shocked if he fell to the 20s and Denver takes him too.
See, that's the thing. I don't see Jeanty getting out of the first round because of, you got a couple teams like Bear Down
Denver, the Steelers.
The Steelers. You've got Cincinnati would probably take a swing at them. You could even say Indianapolis. Well, no, not Indianapolis. Too early. But actually, Indianapolis, the way he might be a good 2 for them. But I don't think. But they need impact, right?
Bengals need to draft defense. They can't afford any more offensive players, or they're not going to have a defense.
Yeah, but
exactly.
Actually, the Colts. Jonathan Taylor's getting older, man. Like, they might be looking to move off of him. I mean, he's still playing well, but like, with running backs, like your drop off could be instantaneous. And how many years does Taylor have in the league already?
I think he's only got like somewhere between like 4 or 6.
Like 6, I think.
And they got
in running back years, that's ancient, dude. Like,
so I could see him flying out of the top 10, but not out of the first round.
Yeah.
There are already enough teams that have been flowing into the comments here, and we've already said.
I'm perfectly good with a team 1 through 9 taking them. I just hope that happens. So, Joe, thank you for bringing that up about Jacksonville being a possibility. Hey, they might want their next Maurice Jones-Drew, even though he's not as physically gifted as him.
Yeah, but I think the more interesting question is if he does fall, like I think you'll really get to see how teams value him, because then it comes down to, do teams prefer Omari and Hampton over him? Like if he falls into that range of like 18 to 23, 25, like Hampton is there too. So it's like, who are they going to take, you know? And if Hampton gets picked before him, I think that tells you a lot about what teams thought of him.
Yeah, and I can't rule that out, because I think any GM with any common sense would want Hampton over Jeanty.
Well, I mean, the Lions will draft Jeanty and trade Gibbs because he's when he fumbles the ball in big games. And then a year from now, Lions fans will say he's trash.
I like Gibbs, man.
I mean, he fumbles in big times, right? I mean, unreliable.
He's fast as shit, though, dude.
Like that's what I'm saying. Like when they got Gibbs, they basically got a younger version of Swift, right? By 2 years younger, but still younger. I don't think Ben Johnson hates Swift. I don't think the Bears are in a huge rush to get rid of Swift. I think they'll take someone in the second or third round, like Broski said, because I don't know how much more they're gonna give the experiment that is Rojo. I like Roschon Johnson, but he hasn't lived up to what I've wanted, partially because he hasn't been given the opportunity, but then he took that concussion. He took a little step back after concussion last year. I think if they draft the running back, it's more because you might see Roschon Johnson leave before Swift.
What round was he drafted in?
Swift?
No, Johnson.
Johnson, we stole him like in the 5th round or something like that. So
dependable.
At the time, people said, that was a value pick, steal, because he was the backup to Bijan, and people just didn't, they overlooked him because anywhere else he would in college football he would have been a starter, but because he was behind Bijan, so the Bears got a really good deal out of it. But then the Bears haven't really used him. Like we've seen flashes of what he could do, but then kind of like the tight end position, we see Cole Kmet, and they have a great game when they throw to him, and then they don't go to him for 5 games. That's kind of how it was with Roschon. He'll have a really good game, and then they won't use him for 3 or 4 games. So,
hey, Broski, I wanted to ask Broski, because he watched a lot of Ohio State. I watched some, but not a lot. Can Egbuka play the X as well as the slot?
you may have a work call or something.
Yeah, I think Broski might be a little busy at the moment.
He had a real world thing to look at, so he actually get his paycheck. Those are good, right?
I wouldn't know.
Yeah. That's not true, Jim. That's not true. But look, I was on a lot with a line podcasters during the draft. Yeah, Broski dropped off. I was on a live draft feed with Lions podcasters, some that you actually watched, Jim, and they all hated it. Hindsight, now it's like, we liked it. And Lions fans in general were not on board with that draft. Like, why? Why? We already have a good running back room. And now 2 years later, oh my God, he was a China doll. He sucked, blah, blah, blah. Dude, come on. Wait a minute. You're going to the Super Bowl, right? Right? They're going to the Super Bowl. Is that what we heard? Lions are going to the Super Bowl? Every year, Lions are going to the Super Bowl.
No, you're not. Yeah, no, you're not. No, you're not. Stop.
Yeah, so just stop, guys. Just stop.
Yeah, I'm wondering if Egbuka can play in the X. Because if he can, like, I wouldn't. People might call me crazy, but for me, the ideal draft for the Raiders, I would trade down with somebody into like the mid to late teens, pick up an extra 2nd round pick. I would take Egbuka in the 1st round, and then I would take both running backs out of Ohio State. I would take Quinshon Judkins and Trevion Henderson.
Well, now I really hope you do draft Jeanty with that 6th pick. You leave them wide receivers alone.
Just look at the Raiders roster and then add Egbuka, Quinshon Judkins, and Trevion Henderson to that, and tell me that our offense with Brock Bowers, like, come on, dude, that offense would be dope.
Packers today, I think.
Say what?
That wide receiver, I can't say his name, from Ohio State, Ibuka.
Ibuka.
He has a 30 visit with the Packers today, I thought.
Yep.
Mhm. Well, if the Raiders trade down to 18, that's before 23. So,
Well, then it seems like Green Bay needs to trade up to 15.
I do not see Green Bay trading up for a wide receiver. Sorry. It's just not.
they should.
I was going to say, you never know with the draft being in Green Bay. Goody might be trying to make himself a superstar, and that would do it for Packer fans.
Let's trade back and take an offensive lineman.
God damn it. You and Dorn with this offensive lineman shit.
Hey, actually, you know what, though? Hold on a second. Dorn, I hope you guys are tracking all these comments from our Lions fans, how their window's just opening, basement dwellers, blah, blah, blah. They're going to win a Super Bowl. You know what? Haven't you guys learned yet?
Mm-hmm. You're learning so many important things, and I'm so proud of you.
I mean, it only took them 3 decades to go to the playoffs and back to back.
I love that Mr. Rogers one, dude, because it's like so patronizing. It's like, it's just.
The Lions have sucked for like 3 decades, and now all of a sudden they're like God's gift to football. Dude, you won 15 games last year, lost to a wild card team with a rookie quarterback at home, where, by the way, your godlike best quarterback in the league, or top 3 in the league, threw a
Top
pick
3.
you a game. Jameer Gibbs fumbles the ball. I mean, these are all your superstars, and boy, how they came up big for you. Just saying. Like, win something.
Roski's back.
Yeah, Joe, did you want to ask me a Ohio State question?
Yeah, I did. I wanted to know, can Egbuka play the X, or is he just a slot guy?
So he can play outside as well. I think most people are projecting him to be a slot. And just because of the studs they had at Ohio State, I think he moved inside to the slot his last season there. But he can play outside.
That sounds like Justin Jefferson. Remember how when he came into the draft, everybody was just labeled him a slot receiver, and so he dropped, and then we got him, and it turns out he's not just a slot receiver.
Yeah, that's literally because as good as Ibuka is, they had 2 other guys who are probably better than him even.
So here's Broski, before we're out of time, would you be mad if the Bears took him at number 10?
I would love it. I would be thrilled if they took. He's one of my 11 guys. So 5 of my 11 now. The 3D tackles, Hampton and Ibuka. I'd be thrilled with at 11, and obviously Tyler Warren. So,
Raise those banners, Jim.
Jihad Campbell's another guy. I'd be fine with at 10.
Do you think if the Raiders took Egbuka at 6, that would be an overdraft?
If they think he's the best wide receiver in the draft, no.
The reason I asked,
go get your guy. Go get your guy. There's no guarantee he's going to be there for you in the second round.
It's not even that. It was like I was thinking because I kind of want to trade down and pick up an extra second. But if we trade down into the mid or late teens, is he still going to be there? Like, is some other team going to see what you see and jump on?
There's a chance. I mean, I don't think the top wide receivers this year are anywhere near the talent of the top wide receivers last year. So they might get devalued just overall as a class a little bit.
And on that terrible take, because we always end on that terrible take, even when it's not, we have to say farewell. Don't forget, JB is next on the network. We'll be back here tomorrow morning. Everyone have a safe and wonderful Tuesday morning. We'll see you back here tomorrow. Peace, love, and football. Better than bacon.